Well, fun. My name is Richard Waring. I've been hosting these readings once a month, usually the first Friday of the month, and it's a joy to be with you in these struggling times. We need poetry now more than ever. I want to begin with a couple of quotes, a few notions to throw out there before we begin with our two wonderful features. The 25th U.S. Poet Laureate, our current one, Arthur Seize, says, "We live in such a fast-paced world. Poetry helps us slow down, deepen our attention, connect, and live more fully." Poet Annie Finch, when asked by an interviewer how she would explain what a poem is to a 7-year-old, said, "A poem is words that fit together in a special way so it's easy to remember and it sounds like magic." And Paul Celan said, "A poem can be a message in a bottle, sent out in the not always great hopefulness, belief that somewhere and sometime it could wash up on land, on heartland perhaps. Poems in this sense, too, are underway. They are making their way towards something, perhaps toward our consciousness." Well, I'm very pleased to introduce our first featured poet, Rex Carey Arrasmith, who writes poetry and fiction in Sedona, Arizona, where it's 65 degrees right now. He holds a master's degree in English and an MFA in creative writing from Lesley University in Cambridge. He is the co-founder of Cambridge Common Writers, a Lesley University MFA alumni organization. His poem Diamond Three Dial was the winning poem at the 2022 National Baseball Poetry Festival in Worcester. Rex is proud to be one of the organizers for Sedona's first poet laureate and served as a judge on its selection committee. His poetry and fiction can be found in the Solstice Literary Magazine, Lily Poetry Review, Passengers Journal, New Note Poetry, Fences Magazine, Spill Words, Dark 30 Poetry, Sandcutters, the Arizona Poetry Center Anthology, and other publications. Please help me welcome Rex.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to just start. This first poem is called The Sinner's Table. The 6 o'clock church wedding was a somber affair. The 8 o'clock full moon reception, not so much. Like always, I was seated in the back at what we call the sinner's table. The sinner's table has a couple of us queer cousins, the bride's one uncle who's been to jail a bunch, the one cousin who's always the sloppiest drinker, our very witchy aunt who finds the full moon auspicious, whatever that means. And then the one older relative on leave from the old folks' home with zero filter, who shockingly spills all the tea. There's only beer and wine. Sorry, there's only beer and soda at this cheap ass reception. So our cousin opens her purse and pulls out a tiny teacup and a plastic flask of old granddad. The granddad part of the label was scotch taped over with the word tea scribbled in its place. Our old cousin passed around her old tea in her tiny cup, and we all giggle with pinkies extended, taking sips of tea like proper English ladies. We think this undesirable table near the bathroom, partially hidden behind an ugly pillar, farthest away from the picked-over buffet of build-your-own tacos and the picked-over scraps of wedding cake, is the best table. We get to watch the other guests queue for the toilet, giving us air kisses as they pass. The DJ starts with Shabuzi, a bar song. Our table of sinners en masse attack the dance floor. We can be counted on to get the party started.
Great.
Um, I'm working on putting together an anthology of poems that are written in the form of a spell, and I'm going to call it Spellbound. And everyone here is free to submit.
Mhm.
I'm going to read you an example of one of the poems that I've written. This one's called Repeat Four Times. It was just a feeling, a bad feeling. Someone's something was directing negative energy towards me. Just a feeling? I might know who. I might even know with what. One. Aber Andevox o Vort. I'll start with the what. It started with a snake. This morning, a yellow bird. Each morning, I met with a dead thing on my porch. It's been going on for a week. You may want to know why. Two. Aber Andevox o Vort. Maybe I should confess why. But right now, it's the who I want to hex. We'd been inseparable. He'd said he was a witch. A witch! I never dreamed he really was. That was until three. Aber Andevox o Vort, Damien. I had to coax this spell from a brujo. When I showed the wizard the dead things, he howled and crossed himself, asking, what had I done? It was a misunderstanding. I never wanted to end things that way. Four. Damien, aber Andevox o Vort. I repeat the spell 4 times and say his name twice. I was tired of mysterious flat tires, burnt and spoiled food, so many inexplicable mishaps. I tried apologetic phone calls. Finally, hello, Damien answers. He did warn me. He's sorry for letting things get this far. He promises to stop. He'll give me another chance. When I first started writing poems, like many people, I had a huge literary crush on Frank O'Hara. So
Mm.
this is sort of my little imagining. It comes with it's called High Tea with Frank, and there's an epigraph. It's a summer day, and I want to be wanted more than anything in the world. Frank O'Hara.
Mm.
Scamp. That's what he calls me. I don't know what it means, but I like the sound of it. Hey, Scamp, be a champ and ask the ivory tickler to play some jazz. What tea should I order you? Do they have Coke, I wonder? And if you ask for Coke, you're getting coffee, black. Clairvoyant? The Russian tea room's full at 4 as I duck around tables full of damp dowagers. Summer doldrums dumped a downpour liberating coiffed hair. Frank and I, dry as vermouth, the only dandies. The pianist winks at my approach, and I see the pinky ring on his right and left digits. I look back at Frank and mouth, homosexual? Frank clutches imaginary pearls, then catches himself. He knows what the room thinks of us. I ask for Brubeck, but get Davis. I know too, as my loafers light gently on the red rug as I weave through looks and perspicacity. Just poured chamomile sends up smoke signals of longing. Frank flirts with scathing double entendres. Only later do I look up scamp in the dictionary I find in his apartment. A person, especially a child, who is mischievous in a likable way. Child? Hmm. Um, so here's a poem. This one's called 12. I remember the first time he let me shoot it, his double-barreled 12 gauge. He'd let me hold it, carry it, clean it before. But now, loaded, trying to aim, I felt its heaviness. I was 12, shivering in the fall morning sunrise, excited on the first day of dove hunting season. I thought I was aiming at a dove, but accidentally shot a migrating Canada goose flying so high you could barely see it. From that distance, my myopic vision, I would get glasses the next year, thought it was a dove, a gray speck, much closer to the ground, rather than the high-flying migrating goose. It seemed like it took a week for it to fall. It grew larger and less dove-like as it plunged. Lagging behind the flock, she'd slowed down, downy fluff gone. Her newly feathered gosling was struggling to keep up. She'd wanted to offer it encouragement. She felt the impact immediately. Losing control, her wing shattered, her flight stalled. She'd felt the cold first, then gravity. As she started to fall, she called out a warning to her child. Keep flying, catch up to the flock and safety. Another call to her mate, one of alarm and fear. At the time, I didn't know why another goose followed the falling goose. It was the gander, honking, circling its falling mate.
Mm.
Whooping and hollering, I barely noticed him as I dragged the heavy carcass by the neck back to our blind. Seeing us, the honking gander veered towards this rising sun. My dad pointed at him as he flew away. The significance, his pain, lost in my thrill. My dad was super impressed and called me Deadeye.
Mm.
He'd heard her call only to watch helpless. His mate was in free fall. What could he do? What's happened? He called over and over. The echo of his call followed her down, unanswered. He'd never know why or how. Circling her broken body, not willing to leave her, he saw the boy kick her, then lift. She was the lifeless thing he dragged away, not comprehending, no longer seeing. He gave a final mournful call and flew to their goslings, catching up to the flock. I wasn't always the boy he wanted. He loved me, but I wasn't a natural. Fishing was icky. Hunting, ew, bloody. I'd sometimes hear the word sissy, and yet I tried. I wanted him to be proud of me. He gave me a celebratory beer, my first. At the time, it was my proudest moment. The following week, basking in glory, I read about the migrating and mating habits of Canadian geese. I was fascinated by my kill. I looked it up in a remembered issue of National Geographic I'd vaguely recalled. I was more into dinosaurs at the time. I wanted to be an expert on geese. I thought I'd want to shoot another one. Glory would be mine again. While reading, I began to sweat, then cry. I learned that Canadian geese mate for life. I'd murdered a goose and widowed a gander. My grandma cooked the goose, its presentation at the table like a trophy. One dead eye stared from my side of the platter. I hid my shame and just poked at the flesh while eating the cabbage, carrots, and later pie. After, alone with my still grinning dad, I wailed, I will never shoot anything again. He tried to explain, then pleaded, then disgusted, stormed away.
Mm. Mm.
Last summer I was at um, a Dylan Thomas writers retreat in Wales, and this is one of the poems I wrote while I was in Wales. It's called A Walk in Llanstefan, Wales. Ruby doesn't care where she is as long as she's with me. She does wonder why there's a no dog sign outside a church. Aren't dogs a part of God's creation? She wonders aloud. We spend time walking around the town. Ruby ignores the greetings of strangers, but always stops to chat with children. There are lots of indifferent children running around playing. Occasionally, one will stop their games and engage with an old woman. I'm always grateful, even though she mistakes the child for a younger me. We stop outside a red door that faces the church. She smiles and says, Now that's a red door. I smile at her in agreement. Ruby, I say, are you hungry? She is not hungry, but wants to walk down to the windy beach we can see from the porch of the Red Door's house. She grabs my arm to steady herself and whispers above the cacophony of the wind-driven leaves blowing from the hillside trees. Who are you, kind stranger? The adult version of myself is a mystery. She sees me in 1,000 prepubescent faces. We walk slowly as she nods to all who pass. Everyone nods back or stops briefly to chat. She asks all if they have seen me, even though I've never left her side. On the beach, she looks at the faces of children digging in the sand. She wants to sit and dig in the sand. But I'm afraid, once down, she wouldn't be able to get up in time to escape the incoming tide. I lead her back up the trail, and we stop at the ancient gathering place. I let her sit on the bench with the silent trio. She wants to know their names. She wants them to sing louder so she can hear. She imagines they are singing to her.
Hmm.
Um, this is a poem that I wrote recently that just won a contest at the national at the Arizona Poetry Society for their magazine Sandcutters. It's called Whale Song. This morning, like most, begins with a swim. The tropical sea is warm in December, and I feel safe, hugged. I let the tide push me in towards shore and then pull me out to sea, back and forth in a familiar rhythm. Close to shore, I hear the first clicks and whistles of whale song. Whales, I hear myself shout. I hold my breath to dive beneath the surf. My chest thrums with their sounds of play and eros. Surprised by their early arrival, their songs make me shiver with giddiness. I struggle to shore against a strengthening tide, then merrily jog home to my Alan. Alan, Alan, you will never guess. He yawns. Whales?
Oh.
He is unmoved by my joy. He says, you know they come every year. He doesn't understand or really care why they come. I explain. Again, it's babies. They come to have their babies. I squeal with glee. He wants waffles.
Hmm.
Um, Karen and I are on the National Baseball Poetry Committee's executive committee, and I thought I would read a baseball poem. This one's called I Was the Man. Working the plate at a high school baseball game. The day was hotter than Satan's balls. The away team's third base coach was flirting with me. I was a deeply closeted 18-year-old umpire. He used any excuse to talk to me, like calling timeouts and bringing me water between innings. His shorts were a little too short, and his third base coach signals looked suspiciously like voguing. He was also the catcher's older brother, and when their side was at bat, I could tell they were talking about me. I was not flattered. I was self-conscious, worried about what signals I might have been giving off. I'd hoped it wasn't my accidental mismatched socks or the bandana I kept in my right back pocket I used to wipe away sweat. After the game, he, Ben, called to me in the parking lot. He'd written his number on a bazooka wrapper. Call me, he said. I want you to umpire my adult softball game. I had to look up the NAGAAA when I got home, the North American Gay Amateur Athletic Association. I started to sweat as soon as I picked up the phone.
Hmm.
I'm not timing myself. How much time do I have?
I'd say two or three more.
Okay. This one's called Sometimes This is okay. Let's read the poem. Sometimes when I wear a hat, I forget I'm wearing it. And when I glance up, I think the ceiling is low. It's happening now. The room is closing in. It's a vigil. Our friend is dying. He struggles to keep alert, to stay cheerful. He says he is hungry. He is not hungry. In better days, this apartment's kitchen was an after-hours hangout. He is, well, was a chef. 3 a.m. breakfasts were his specialty. Now it's 3 p.m., and his mother is in his kitchen. There is no late-night banter. She is all business. She banishes all who try to enter or help. She wants to make her baby pancakes, his favorite. He is barely conscious. He stopped eating. Someone thinks it would be a good idea to get a photo, a last group shot. We gather around his bed. We wanted us all together like it wasn't happening. He wasn't having it. His eyes fluttered open. His hand rose from under his covers to cover his face. No photos, he manages to croak.
Mm.
I lay next to him and listen as his breathing slows. On his bed, I strain to hear his mumbling. The truth is, I never really liked pancakes.
Mm.
Um, okay, I'll just read one more. It's kind of longer, so I'll just read. It's called Poker Night in the Garage. The Bigler brothers of Bigler Brothers Ford, Dale, my grandfather, his brother Roy, Charles, and Guy. Poker night was a family affair with them and cousin Snooks, three in greasy uniforms with names stitched above pockets, and two in salesman suits with wide silk hand-painted ties. Kids and grandkids scurry in and out, with Grandma manning the grill. Want a chew of gum? Cheese or no cheese? What about onions? Snooks was a runt, a banty rooster who made everyone laugh. His wife was fat and always barefoot. Are you staring at my feet? They got this big from stomping in Mississippi mud. Grandpa says, Hell, Bessie, you must have been sitting in it too. All of his kids try not to laugh. Ronnie and I steal a couple of cigs off the back of the toilet where Grandpa likes to smoke. I cough through puffs, thinking I look grown up. It's the Wednesday night game, and an inside flush takes the first pot. Nickels are the chips. And five $1 stacks slides to a grinning Uncle Roy. He gives all us kids a nickel from his winnings. We immediately put them in the soda machine. Icy Dr. Pepper for me. It's 6 o'clock and still 112 outside, and the swamp cooler only barely sends a cooling whisper into the garage where the card table, beer cooler, whiskey bottle, and overflowing ashtray sit in an empty auto bay. All the swears gives us kids the giggles. Poker night is date night for our parents. We watched our mother getting ready for their night out at the courtesy, wearing earrings that twisted below her hairdo like white plastic snakes. We kids and cousins are free range, with mustard-stained hands, licking the potato chip salt off of sticky fingers, getting fly swatter spanked when Grandpa thinks we are too loud.
Hmm. Wow, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can tell that you're also a fiction writer.
Yeah, I'm a pretty narrative poet for sure.
Exactly. Thank you very much. That was great. Really enjoyed it. I want to mention that next month, first Friday, December 5th, we're going to have Natalie Russ and Kate Wallace Rogers. So looking forward to that. And I'm going to take a little break in January. The first Friday in January is January 2nd, and I think it's not a very popular time to try to organize a poetry reading. So we're going to take early winter break. Well, up next, we've got uh, Karen Elizabeth Sharpe, who is from Rutland, Massachusetts, where she lives with her partner and two pandemic rescue dogs. Karen is the author of Prayer Can Be Anything from Finishing Line Press and This Late Afternoon, Dunn and Company. She's a poetry editor at the Worcester Review and a member of the National Baseball Poetry Festival Executive Committee. Her poems have or will soon appear in Swim, Whale Road Review, The MacGuffin, The Comstock Review, Split Rock Review, Mom Egg Review, and Halfway Down the Stairs, among other publications. Please welcome Karen.
Thanks, Richard, and thanks to all of you for showing up on a Friday night. We head into the cold days here. I have 0 baseball poems to share, so you'll just have to take my word for it that I will come up with some new one before the next festival in the spring.
Mm.
I have been working on what is becoming a new manuscript that has it is evolving into a theme around control and consent, and I'm actually writing a series of poems about the Greek myth about Leda and the swan, which you may or may not know. Leda was married to the king of Sparta, and she's very famous because she's depicted in many, many pieces of artwork as sitting next to the side of a river, and she is raptured in some views and raped in some views by a swan, which is the Greek god Zeus in disguise because he's so enamored with her. And so Leda's story is only that. There's nothing else about Leda in all of history. However, she is the mother of the person who becomes Helen of Troy, which sets off all of Western civilization's narrative history. So I've been writing poems, persona poems about Leda, and I'm imagining what happened to her. And what happened to her in my mind is that she left, she got out of there, and she's made a new life for herself. They may evolve. This is a work in progress. I'm going to share a few poems about Leda at the opening here. First one is called After He Said I Was Too Much. At the lake's edge, the scent of fruit rose thick, a syrup in the late air, sweet, honeyed, but cloying too. The way a man I once thought I loved said I was too much. Concords cluster dense this time of year. Their vines sagged low enough to snag a hem. The drawdown left stumps bare, ribs of old trees gray as elephant legs. The mud dark and rutted, with birds stepping carefully, killdeer crying over moss, lime green below September's sun. Concord grapes split their skins easily, their tartness best boiled into jelly, not wine.
Mm.
Harvest comes quick, a sudden glut at the equinox, burdened vines, birds frantic, the air sharp with sugar, grape skins darkened black. I pick one for myself, bit hard, so sweet, as heavy with seed as a lug, the skin's bitter lingering, staining my tongue, purple, raw.
Mm.
So in these series of poems, she's leaving the river in her village in Sparta to go, I'm imagining she's going to the sea. So she's passing through a lake and she ends up at the ocean. So that's sort of the theme that you'll hear in here. But they are persona poems. They're not all Greek myth. Anyway, this one is called Dragonfly. It must be June. From the pond's dark skin, climb the reeds, split open their nymphal shells, clinging like small brown ghosts. Wings harden in air, hammered glass and sunlight. They hover, the color of sky remembered. No one remembers my name now. The house, the river, the man, the god, all silt. Still, something in me stirs, transparent, veiled, lifting, free from what once held it. This is a persona in the voice of a tree who once knew Leda. It's called Not Loud But Lasting. No one asks what I remember. The leaf mold, the way she climbed my limbs to breathe above the arguments. I bent, but held. She pressed her voice like a mouse into my bark. I felt the whisker quiver of fear before it found language, her breath caught in the rings of me. Something broke then, not loud, but lasting. Her words scurried up and paused, then vanished again, curled into a knot. I held everything no one saw. Her weight, the way she left pieces of herself in the cracks of me. I still lean in that direction. Leda at the far shore. A tree's body persists season after season, not relic, but relevant. I study the stone cold shoreline, the cool pulse of the waves, away from the lighthouse. Golden bell-shaped apples blush pink in the thinning sun. The yellow bellflower, weeks past picking, still hums with bees. Only the highest branches hold tight to fruit. My hand grazes the furrowed bark, wrinkled as an old throat. I did not expect it, this small resurrection by the ocean in October. I'm here relearning to breathe, how the waves speak, and then muffle the river's violence to drown everything else out. Rex, as you were reading the last poem about gambling, I had to pull out my gambling poem, which Richard, you might recognize. Richard and I were on a retreat together this summer. And this is called Casino of Love. And then I have to give you a little vocabulary lesson. So there's a word in here called the vig, which is short for the word vigorish, which is a real word. Vigorish is a gambling term that describes the percentage of the take that the house or the bookie takes when someone makes a bet. Casino of Love. I've been a clamped fist, a gambler of unmet needs, always trying to make someone else happy, fondling dice, tossing fantasy, loading craps tables, stacking mistakes, betting against myself. Look, love is a vig, the house only in it for himself. His juice, his take, is the emptiness you're willing to shell out in small pieces. The coin you pay to look the other way. Meanwhile, fulfillment and hope keep their distance, circle the blackjack table, walls. What I mean is, I've made forgetting a second skin, forgetting everyone and what's outside that smoky parlor room. I feed on collected losses, lose track of what I'm starving for, forgetting my piece of sky wiped clean. This house never loved anyone, least of all me. Hope's a sucker's vet. I place mine anyway.
Hmm.
This one is called The Forensics of Hoarding. My grandmother held life so close, she squeezed it to her 100th year. Her back room lined with disaster, fortified in postcards, photos, bags of tiny pink shells, places she went once, maybe twice. Furs wrung the necks of hangers in closets, sweaters, stockings, suits. Bedpans, band-aids, have-nots, what-ifs, collected, protected, tucked in coat pockets. In the kitchen, endless strawberry jams, dilly pickles, blood-red beets in dusty dark jars sealed with wax. She kept cross-stitched ration books from the year my mother was born, the year she learned to start seedlings from garbage scraps, the year she signed onto the Clean Plate Club, the Tire Patch Club, when silverware grew scarce, when sugar and flour were luxuries, when ration points bought a slice of security, of safety, of bread. She always said, make it do or do without, but that was a lie. She kept everything, just in case.
Hmm.
All right, I'll just do a couple more here. The next poem is a poem form called the Golden Shovel, which for those of you who are not poets, tell you what it is. It's a form where each word of one line from another poem serves as the end word of the line of the new poem. It was created by Terrence Hayes. He wrote a homage to Gwendolyn Brooks and her poem We Real Cool, where that is a very short and succinct poem, and he used every word from that poem as the end word in a new of his.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a golden shovel taken from a Joy Harjo poem, very famous Joy Harjo poem called Perhaps the World Ends Here. Some people call it the kitchen table poem.
Mm-hmm.
The line I used is the very first line, which is, the world begins at a kitchen table. No matter what, we must eat to live. So that is Joy Harjo's line. And my poem is called The World Begins with Another Flower Opening after Joy Harjo. And it's going to be in the Rockvale Review at the end of this month.
Nice.
Even with piles of dust about our feet, the dishes in the sink, I know my crooked world opened your busted heart and yours mine. Everything begins broken, not blessed, and us admonished against another go at love, dealing from a second-hand deck, a funhouse mirror of mistakes. We stocked a kitchen cabinet full of solves and solutions, wrote a different table of contents, medicinal lessons in mending. What we know is one day, dark throats of tulips open to spring sun, no matter fear of frost, and the next maples are marled autumn red. What we know of absolutions sponged beneath our knees, their weight, memories combust, children turn the path, Parents tire and fade, they must. We no longer overindulge in words like duty or shame or let them eat us like hungry brown sparrows. We were ready, or nearly so, when we met, to love the scent of another flower opening, to keep it alive.
Mm, nice.
And I thought I would end on an abad, which is a poem form that's usually written about a lover leaving their lover early in the morning in the dark, but we're in the evening dark. And it's called Autumn Obad. There was a time when autumn arrived. All I could see was the end of days. Now I rise with the black hours, even as they creep. Leave my kind, gentle man sleeping in the dark, our warm pillow, the crescent of our embrace. I take our two dogs out to pee, a small hour dim with rechargeable headlamp. I see what I want to see. Jeweled dew masquerading the lawn, dormancy in the trees, their tired yellow orchestra. With each morning's deepening, I recharge too, pull up from inside myself a loose-limbed resilience. There are things worth waking for. The kitchen light's bright yellow chamber, a hot cup of tea steaming the counter. It's okay to hold on to simple moments, squint at a star-spattered sky, and follow the fleeting silver mist of breath in the cool, dark air. How many more mornings like this might there be? I know the coming blue wash of day may be false, the hours littered with more sad news. Still, I love this small, bruised world, its thin river, a little damage and a little grace, the horizon bleeding its slow red ache. There you go.
Wow. Wonderful. Thank you. What a wonderful reading. I was thinking during your Leda poems that, well, I have a Leda poem as well. It's really quite a stunning subject matter. But I was talking to my daughter, who is going to have a baby in March, making me a grandfather for the first time. And I thought she was going to name her daughter Cornelia, which is her name. She's a sixth generation. And instead, that's going to be her middle name, and her first name's going to be Daphne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it, knowing my Greek mythology, but at least she managed to escape her assailant. So perhaps that's a story of bravery and resourcefulness. And so,
Yeah, yes. And Nina McLaughlin has an amazing essay in her book which retells Daphne's story
mm,
from her own voice, which
wow.
I'll see. I have the book. I'll see if I can send it to you.
Of course, we've got Barbara's series about
Yes.
Bernini sculptures
Yeah.
from her book. Well, that was really great. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, we're going to hear from others in this room with their poem. We've got nine poets lined up, and our first is Holly Guran. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen and Rex. What beautiful readings. Really enjoyed them. Thank you. Okay, this poem is it's after Stanley Plumley. He wrote a poem called Wages
Mm,
quite some time ago, and this is kind of after that. So it's also called Wages.
mm,
My children and I sleep in a small apartment. Their father sleeps in another state. It's raining. None of us wants to wake. My son oversleeps, needs me to drive him on his paper route through the pox streets where usually he rides his bike. His father's 3,000 miles away. His father has told me he doesn't want to be a father. All over this college town, the students are rising. Soon I'll go to class, then to my afternoon job, answering the office phone. We are not starving because we have food stamps, but not enough cash. I don't mind working. Or I drive my son. The puddles barely shine.
Hmm. Wow, thank you, Holly. Up next, please welcome John Engstrom.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you to the two opening poets. That was excellent. This is an erasure poem.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on a memorandum that was circulated in my building by the management, warning us that there was about to be an internet shut off.
Hmm.
Um, and I took this memo and messed with it. So this is memorandum on pending internet shut off. Dear well, we you that the buildant is current fun. We understand system for secure communication. Please know that sly our to assess and we their follow up too is meantime patience and we recognize inconvenience. Or we sincerely apologize cause is down. We make to expected mobile in medical givers or contact thee directly to we with any as vendor and continued patience as we work. If you have any support, please reach out to us. Thank you, management.
Wow. Thank you, John. Up next, please welcome Relea.
Relea, thank you. This is only my second time joining these. I appreciated hearing from the two poets earlier. That was lovely. This poem is called The Currency of Shadows. There are deals we make in the back rooms of our hearts, paying in small denominations to keep the machinery moving, to keep the ghosts fed, to keep the world convinced. $20 bills for silence, for favor, for the quiet slipping of old skins. And yet, tucked inside your secret stash, a currency the world does not recognize, pressed flat and waiting, a strange and holy relic of your becoming. They tried to fling it from the fan, out the window, out of reach, but some things cannot be unclaimed. Some things are meant to ride the wind, to find their way to sky and soil, to places you've not yet dreamed. You are not the sum of the deals you've made to stay safe. You are the rare currency the world has yet to name.
Thank you, Vero. And now please welcome Steve Nickman.
Thanks, Richard. Thank you so much, Rex and Karen. This is a poem from my wife. We used to do a lot of traveling together. This is called For a Song. In Madrid with you, after we entered the subway car, standing room only, I thought I heard flamenco singing far away. Someone touched my right hip. I looked right and downward, but someone else lifted my wallet from the left. A slim youth appeared on the platform outside, did a bullfighter's pirouette, grinned for the passengers, held up his prize like the bull's ear. The door closed and our train moved on. You told me put it in your front pocket where they can't get at it without you noticing. But I'd majored in Spanish, been in Madrid before, knew the ropes. 2 hours later, the spare wallet I'd brought was in my back pocket. We were back underground, and it happened again with a completely new cast.
Mm.
Well, I thought, we were planning to go to the Rastro today anyway, the vast flea market where useful objects can be bought for a song. Later, the sergeant of police was tolerant when I made my report. Out on the cool midnight street, I consoled myself. At least I'd remembered the Spanish word for wallet.
Mm. Wow. Quite the experience. Up next, Jonathan Aibel.
Wouldn't you know that, Steve, that was so, I mean, I hate to say funny, but made me laugh.
It
And
was funny.
wow, what a great evening this has been. Rex and Karen, those were just remarkable poems. I have a poem that originated in France called Sage.
Mm.
Now, I know time can be beautiful, that beautiful comes from French, from Anglo-French, the conquest. I know pomme means apple. So many apples in French, pomme de terre, pomme à granite, pomme d'amour. They nourish my tongue, discourteous as a child, feral as wine, savory and sweet, my mouth buzzes on too well. I know the flies buzzing out of tune, as once I knew rose petal scent, romance from France, la belle et la bête, with a feather pen, my hand a flowing Spencerian. I knew strangeness, spoiled games, plans I made, the hope to bear paper flowers, forgetting myself, my faults, the apple in the drawer, attracting flies. Button down and tie, dressed like an adult. I knew so much and know, but not myself.
Mm. Great to hear that fully developed. It's wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. And here is Clara Silverstein.
Thank you, Rex. And and Karen, it's just been a beautiful evening. This is timely. Winter solstice.
Hmm.
I lose myself in a day, truncated, tractionless, my face between two pale wheels. A day in which the moon set on the north side of our house. The sun rose on our south. Looking out our bedroom window, I feel at one with the dormant stalks. Grass glinting in sheaths of frost.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you, Clara. And now here he is, Robbie Gamble.
Hi all, Rex, Karen, it's really great to hear you. I apologize for dipping in and out. I'm caring for my dad currently, so there's a lot going on, but it's really nice to be a part of this community. This is a poem I wrote a couple of years ago, but I think it's seasonally appropriate right now. It's called November Lambs. Ted first found them, knob-kneed, nuzzling mom, trailing umbilical remnants in the lower orchard. The ewe had miscarried in the spring, managed another ovulation, another tryst with the ram, now an oopsie, November twins, barely fleeced, frost and nights falling early, not a good time to be a lamb.
Hmm.
My novelist friend notes, we are all November lambs right now, disoriented, chilled, gleaning for sweet grass through the stubble of the day, our milk of kindness reservoir shrinking in this hate-fueled drought. I wake each morning wondering if my poet friend survived another night of bombing. I know many didn't. I remember this taste, the electric uncertainty of war. But baby animals are always cute and awkward, especially lambs. Their mother is attentive, and Ted will find them a warm corner of the barn. So they will thrive in the moment. Some of us remain determined to carry on, healing, rebuilding, negotiating, while others seem content with piles of rubble, vengeful corpse count of foes. I have never managed to do enough with this little lifetime. I know these lambs will emerge from winter with a date for the abattoir. They wobble on for now.
Hmm.
Thanks.
Wow. Well done. Here is Kathy Whitham.
Right. I felt so transported by both poets tonight, and there were hints of magic in the poetry, and I was drawn to pick this one and then realized that it has hints of magic.
Hmm.
You grandson refusing shoes. Hold on. Sorry. Acorns splash on soft earth, crack and smack a steady waterfall through leaves and branches of high oaks. You, unimpeded, continue leaping the line of your family property from boulder to uneven boulder, as if your toes are fingertips, feeling every contour with confidence. I imagine eyes on the soles of your feet. Do they see spaces between blades of grass as you run? Do they blink at the tickle of the moss? Do they warn of cones littering the ground for you to navigate, as unconcerned as a goat standing vertical on his mountain?
Hmm. Wow. Very nice. I'm feeling some grandfather poems coming upon me as I expect little Daphne, who my daughter said don't tell anyone the name yet, but what the heck. So I'm going to close things out with a poem from my uh, soon to be published book called Small Beauties, which will be published in May of next year by Kelsey Books in Utah. And this is the title poem. And I think I can thank Jonathan Aibel for something I can't remember that he helped me with this poem. Small Beauties. The pebble David picked from his shepherd field to bring down Goliath. The adulterer's rock, the one not thrown. Boulder rolled from the tomb when the women come with spices and oil and are answered only by those in clothes that gleam like lightning. My kidney, the staghorn stone of sharpest discomfort, weighing down Virginia Woolf's overcoat pockets as she walks into the river Ouse. Soup and the generosity that follows. When I lose my way, cairns. Childhood collection I can't put at the curb because no one would love them as much as I do. silent companions, known my whole life, that will rest atop my grave.
Great.
On that happy note, here we are. What a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing your vulnerability. This time of need for poets to stand up, to speak, to protest, perhaps, to resist, to champion that which is being trodden upon. These are very important times for poets. So carry on and please stay strong.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Any other comments that people want to share before we break for the evening?
Thanks to everyone for spending time with us. I echo everything Richard said. It's important to do this work and to share it and to hear other people put voices to what's on their minds and try to make beauty even out of the painful things. So
Yeah,
for all of that.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much.
turning a sow into a bull's ear.
Yes. Well, thank you all.
Okay,
And,
good night.
good night. Farewell. We'll see you again. Take care.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Rex, Karen, everybody. It's great.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
What a pleasure. Thanks, everybody.